What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Catamas, and welcome to the Awakening World. It's June. My gosh, the year is flying by, and we're kind of launching a whole new season tonight. Now, what we always like to do, because I know that right now it's not a regulars watching, is start the new season 1 month early so that new people joining get 4 months instead of just 1 month. So that's why we do it that way. And so we want to do something kind of special. So tonight is a greatest hits night. And I see that beloved brother Omashar made it. So welcome, Omashar. What I'm going to do, since he and I didn't have a chat, hey, pal, you made it.
I finally did. I came in through the bathroom window. We'll sort the other thing out another time.
Well, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you
Me
made it.
too.
Since you're kind of getting settled in, of course, you and I we'll have Omashar music. I'll text you, but we're going to start off with Nina Grae.
Beautiful.
And Nina Grae is going to sing to us all about bringing it on, bringing it on. So we're going to go right into beloved Nina Grae, one of our favorites.
So good to be here with you tonight. A song, bring it on. Lately I've been really thinking what I live for, what I die for, and what I want to fight for. Voices whispering, babe, it's time for you to stand up. It's a new world waging an old war. As a child, I couldn't understand the villains, why they're killing what they can't comprehend. I can recognize the blind cannot see clearly what they're doing. Now that I'm older and just a bit wiser, we were being called to lead, 'cause we're all characters in a new story. We came to feel in order to heal. So God is my witness. Bring on all of it to wrap up in our love. Bring it on. crash over me. Let the waves crash, let the waves crash over me. Let the waves crash, let the waves crash over me. Our time is now, 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 now. Mwah.
It's kind of a Mercury retrograde so far. People are telling me that my picture is fuzzy and that it's choppy. So I'm sorry to hear that. What I'm going to do is I did send some of these videos to our beloved brother, Omashar. So Omashar, if you can maybe start embedding them, and we'll try playing that. Why don't you pull the Michael Fox one? And I'm going to try playing a short video from Marianne Williamson. We'll see how this plays. I actually am in a place where I did my show here Wednesday night and it was great, but I am seeing this as internet connection is unstable. So I may need to turn things over to Omashar in a big way. Hey, brother, I've got the spotlight on you now.
Okay, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at my emails to try and start some embedding.
Okay.
Huh. All right. So I got
Okay,
Michael
well,
Beckwith. You sent me Michael Beckwith and
I think you'll like Grae, Michael Beckwith. I think
and
you
Nina
sent
Grae.
Matt Kahn too. And Nina Grae. We just played Nina, so you don't need to do that one.
I don't see Matt Kahn.
Okay, I'll resend that to you right now. Sorry, you guys. Wow. I'm going to try a prayer for Marianne Williamson while Omashar does that. Omashar, I'll send you a couple more right now. It'll take a moment for them to get to you. And let's see if this prayer from Marianne Williamson helps us to have a better internet connection.
I'm so grateful that this is a place where I can actually ask that you join with me. That's what we're doing here together, because we know that the most creative place is not just in the mind, but in the heart. And that has already been said here tonight as well. And so let's all take a deep breath and close our eyes. And see in the middle of our mind a little ball of golden light. And we watch this light as it expands and covers the entire inner vision of our mind. And into this golden light we step, standing in the presence and before the power of the great creator of all things. We atone in our hearts, not only on our own behalf, but on behalf of our nations and our world, for our lack of love. And in this moment, we are ready to begin again. And we pray for a great wave of forgiveness and purification to come upon all our minds and all our hearts. As we now gaze into a different and possible future in which all are fed, all are nurtured, and all are loved. And we dedicate ourselves to that vision, that possibility, to that reality. We pray to be used in our own ways assigned, that our hands, our feet, our steps, our actions, our thoughts, all that we have and all that we are might be used for a great rebirth. It is for this that we were born. It is for this and to this that we dedicate the rest of our lives. And so it is. Thank you so much. It was an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne.
Much love to you. God bless you.
So many comments coming in, people just so inspired. We're gonna have Marianne on the show again. We're talking about having an entire show just with Marianne, sharing kind of where her platform is going to be. So give me some feedback. How did that video play for people? Go ahead and pop it in the chat box. In fact, someone like Connie or Eleanor Joy, you can even unmute and let me know if it's playing well enough. Okay. All right, great. Omashar has started embedding, so this is good. Omashar, let's get things rocking and rolling. Why don't you play one of the Elijah Grae songs?
All right, let's see what happens. And let me get this one up.
And this is one of our favorite from back in the Elijah days, but they did on the show again, and it is Elijah Grae. And we appreciate Omashar for embedding. Yeah, people are saying, some are saying fine, some are saying not good, some are still saying sketchy. So we'll play them through Omashar's video.
Hopefully. Elijah Ray just came up with, I'm supposed to sign in for a TV thing. I'll do the other one.
Oh.
All right.
You know, there is...
All right, here we go. Just a moment. Oh my God, this sucks.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. And thank you, Omashar, for doing this. There we go.
Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
You know,
can you hear it?
There is this time we're in. And every time, like, for example, as we're about to listen to Elijah, the opportunity for us to let listening itself be an opportunity to drop into and die into the present moment. And so I really want to encourage us to listen to the music with an awareness that we're not being entertained, we're being entertained, where our inner sympathetic string, body, mind, heart, and soul are being vibrated to being integrated into the field of the community that we're all creating tonight together. So as Elijah Ray consecrates our time together, this is really about, like the musical lighting of the candle, the burning of the sage. Elijah Ray is going to consecrate our space, and this is sacred space. This is sacred time to share together the profound awareness of the fact that we're going to disappear one day, and how can we show up for that with all of our hearts and souls and minds and bodies. So that's the invitation. Why don't we ask Elijah Ray to take the next step? Oh, there it is.
Hello, friends.
There you are. Hey,
Thank
Elijah.
you so much, Gary. Love you so much, brother. Thank you for being such a genuine, heart-centered human. I just adore you too, and everybody here, and everyone out there who's listening. I just want to take a moment to breathe into our hearts together. There's something very simple and powerful about just taking a few breaths in silence, and then I'll go ahead and drop into some music here. Just while we take these 3 deep breaths, I want to invite everyone who's listening to just fully arrive where you are, right where you are. Welcoming all that is beautiful, all the good feelings, all the warm fuzzies, and all of that is not good, all that doesn't feel good right now, just to allow everything to be right here. I'd like to open with a song that I wrote about grief. And I realized that grief was actually like a lonely lost friend that didn't have anyone to talk to and felt really alone and really far away. And so I wrote a song to that grief, as though it were a loved one or a friend. And it's called More Each Day. Before you go, look me in the eyes, and I will show you paradise. And if you're leaving tomorrow, let me say that I will love you more each day. And if the sun forgets to shine, I'll shine upon you with this heart of mine. And if the strong winds are blowing all around, yeah, just sing this song, yeah, and find your before you go, look me in the eyes, and I will show you paradise. And if you're leaving tomorrow, let me say that I will love you more each day. Yeah, don't you worry, babe, about your pride. I'll walk beside you whenever you ask. And yes, I know we must go our separate ways, but I'm still gonna love you, oh, more each day. If I could sing it for you a million ways, I'm gonna love you more each day. Oh, more each day. Oh, Lord, more each day.
Yay. Beautiful.
you, Omashar. It seems like that played well, which is good. So welcome everybody. And I really appreciate people's patience. It's kind of reminding me back of the very first few weeks that we were doing the Awakening World, and we were like learning how to do all these things and having more internet goofs. And it's been pretty smooth for the last 3 years. So getting a little day like today helps us to remember how much we appreciate good technology. And give me feedback. Let me know if people are able to hear me okay right now, or if this is still choppy. Omashar, how am I playing?
It's a little choppy, but it's a bit better. You got a bit more bandwidth. It's a little better.
A little bit better, okay.
I don't have anything from you yet, though. Nothing's come through the emails, and
it's taking way too long, unfortunately. So we're going to have to go with what you've got right now. You said you have a Michael Beckwith.
I have Michael Beckwith, and I do have the second Elijah Ray song, but when I clicked it on, it wanted me to sign into Apple TV. So it's like something must be within the embed of it. So I'm going to bring it.
Let's go with Michael Beckwith.
We will.
So,
I'm just dropping in the Michael, putting in the Elijah Ray again, and behind the scenes, I'm doing that, and now we'll go with the Michael Beckwith.
Great, and thank you, everybody. And this is, of course, a previous record, and Michael Beckwith is one of our absolute favorite people. I see Connie is with us, and Connie and I had the pleasure of being with Michael Beckwith a couple of months ago in Los Angeles when he performed the wedding ceremony for Pookie. We should have Pookie and Bob on the show again soon.
I know, right?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, my brother.
Okay, let's see how we do, brother. Oh, where's my screen share gone? Well, that's interesting.
That's an entire hour-and-a-half show.
That's the Michael Beckwith, which I just downloaded from what you sent me.
Okay, so let's hang on. Maybe let's see what show that is. Oh, just fast forward it like a teeny bit.
Okay, I will. And this is real and live.
It's an entire show, so maybe we're supposed to show this show together. Let's see what it is.
I'm just going to expand.
Just play it. Oh, there. Okay, now there's a 13-minute Michael Beckwith.
Brother Scott, it's my joy to be with you. Thank you for the invitation. When we talk about who we are as the light, in the quantum field, we are a whole perfect idea. We're a one-of-a-kind, unique expression of infinite potential that is always seeking to express itself by means of us according to our unique pattern. And so when we talk about quantum healing, we're talking about going back to the source, going back to having a spiritual realization of our innate wholeness. And when that begins to happen, then the mental body, the emotional body, the subtle bodies come, and the physical body come in harmony with the celestial body, which is light itself, which is perfect. Now, I can remember teaching a class a number of years ago, and at the end of the class, I said, who wants to be held in the group field of prayer? And a lady shot up her hand. Her name was Donna, and she doesn't mind me telling this particular story. And she said, Michael, I would love for you to pray that I get moved up on my kidney transplant list. I have a kidney disease that the doctors say cannot be handled without an operation. And will you pray that I get moved up on that list? And I said, Donna, why don't we work with healing the kidneys that you have? And she said, no. The doctor said that they've never seen this particular expression, this disease ever heal. We have to have an operation. And I said, I understand what the doctors have said. And we work with the kidneys. And she said, no. And she was very adamant about that. All of a sudden, I thought about this story that Alan Watts shared. And Alan Watts talked about his wife always being late. And he would tell her, babe, listen, we have a meeting, don't be late. And she would inevitably be late. He would lie about the time, says we need to be there at 6 when we really needed to be there at 7. and she would find a way to be late. And then one day he was in New York City, and he said, let's meet for lunch. But I remember, I have a meeting. She was late. And so he's watching his mind go crazy. She's always late. She doesn't respect me. She doesn't respect my time. And then he heard the mind chatter. And he said to himself, my wife loves me. She respects me. She just has a casual relationship with time. He said, I'll take this time to meditate. While I'm waiting, I'll meditate. While I wait, I'll meditate. I heard that story in my mind. I said, Donna, while we're waiting for the transplant, why don't we try to heal your kidneys? And she said, yes. So all of the anxiety and all of the energy dissolved. And so then I asked the class, I said, how many of you today woke up and became very grateful that your kidneys are working? No one raised their hands. And so I said, this is what I want you to do. Every time you use the restroom today, I want you to bring Donna into your mind, and I want you to tap into the field and see her wholeness. We called it the PP prayer, praying while peeing. And we had the whole class do this. Donna, I gave her a book, and in the book, there was a chapter on physical healing. I told her to read, and there was a particular emphasis on the kidneys as a way of distilling toxins. I told her to read this book every single day and to begin to have a feeling of her own wholeness. So approximately a month later, we're meeting for their oral examinations, and Donna raises her hand very enthusiastically, and she says, my kidneys spontaneously healed. She went to the doctor, everything checked out. They wanted to do a slight operation on her to see why she forbid it. And to this day, and that was over 10 years ago, her kidneys are working. So what do? We allowed her to relax by having no attachment to an outcome. While we wait for the transplant, we'll work on your kidneys. And so in the waiting period, there was no attachment, there was no anxiety, there was no anxiousness about the healing. She just relaxed. The class tapped into the field, and every time they used the restroom for that 30 days, they brought Donna into their awareness, and they tapped into her wholeness, that perfect spiritual prototype that's impervious to time, impervious to experience and thought forms. And that's how they saw Donna. They didn't see her as an individual that was sick. They saw and felt her as an individual expression of the Most High God. And then Donna got her mind back by reading every single day about the possibility of physical healing, and then feeling into her own wholeness. The body temple began to respond, and it shifted her life. Not only did it shift her life in terms of the kidney, she began to exercise. She began to lose weight. She began to eat more nutritional food. She began to hydrate. She began to do things she wasn't doing before. So she had a total and radical shift in how she walked the planet. When we think about quantum healing, the quantum field is the unified field. We could call it divine consciousness. We can call it the field of unity. It's the field that I saw back in the 70s. It's the field that I see on a regular basis. The field that I saw 3 or 4 weeks ago when I was inundated into the light. Our role is to take our mind back from the worry, the doubt, the fear, the anxiety, all of those particular thought forms that create toxic chemicals that impede the immune system, get lodged in our nervous system, so that even when we're talking good about ourselves consciously, the nervous system has a memory of that anxiety that was captured by the worry. So we take back our mind where it was hijacked. We feel into our sense of wholeness. We invite the community to see the wholeness, and we do this with each other as we're speaking to each other this evening. We see each other as whole emanations, unique, one-of-a-kind expressions of infinite potential. Because this presence that is never an absence, never does a do-over, it never repeats itself, and it got you right the very first time. So there's nothing incurable, There's only incurable people who refuse to step out of the paradigm of the fear, the doubt, the worry, out of the paradigm of they're just a body. As Madhuri mentioned to us, we are vibrational beings. So as we lift our frequency with prayer, we lift our vibration with meditation, we lift our vibration with visioning, we lift our vibration with sacred service, we lift our vibration with the chant and the music and the dance, we lift our vibration by falling in love moment by moment by moment with the presence that is never an absence. Our vibration is lifted. We stabilize that lift with practice. We integrate the lift with practice so that there's an integration that takes place with every insight that we have coming from the quantum field. And then our life changes. Sometimes moment by moment by moment over a period of time. That's called Kensho. Sometimes immediately. That's Satori. So between the movement of Kensho, a slow burn of cleaning up the filters, and the immediate Satori of, I got it, oh my God, it's happening now. Our life goes on an arc of unfoldment of which we are participating in. We're at the stage of our evolution. We're at the apex of an old form of evolution, the beginning of a new stage of evolution. The old form of evolution is that circumstances guide the evolution. The new form of evolution is that we participate in it. It's conscious evolution. We are participating in it regardless of condition, circumstance, situations. We choose by expanded awareness to tap into our wholeness, into that quantum field, and be conscious that the entire universe is for us and that there's nothing against us. We want to wake up every single day with that sense of gratitude, walk with that feeling tone, and then we're pulled by something so magnificent about us. Now, let us enter into that field together. I invite you to close the outer eye and begin to feel within your own heart and soul right now, just a deep sense of gratitude for anything at all. A deep sense of thankfulness for anything at all. A deep sense of appreciation for anything at all. We begin to notice that when we are in gratitude and thanksgiving and dynamic appreciation, our perceptual windows become so clean and clear, and we're able to see better. We see through the parent's world, the world of effects and circumstances, and we recognize the smile of God in every flower. We recognize the bending of every tree to the divinity that's within us. We recognize the holy ground of the earth breathing its love for us. Our perceptual windows become so clean and clear. We recognize the presence that is never an absence. And now with a deep inhalation, release at the sigh of ah. We feel one with this presence. It's not separate. It's not distant. It's right here. It's right now, our life. And it is from this awareness that the very word that is being spoken right now is truly a vibrational law unto itself that only knows its own unfolding. Spoken with the authority of one knowing that all that there is a manifestation of the only thing that is, which is the light, the love, the beauty, and the intelligence, and the presence that is never absent. I embrace each and every individual that's tuning in right here and right now to this magnificent community, Saturday Night Alive community, knowing as I am lifted up into this rarefied atmosphere of absolute truth, I draw each and every individual into this frequency of wholeness, this quantum field of beauty and of love and intelligence, abundance, that we feel all of our needs met. We feel divine health and wholeness and well-being. We feel transcendent knowledge becoming active within us, creative intelligence. We feel duly supported, connected, and never neglected. We feel it in our bones, in our soul. And we come back again to giving thanks that it is already done in the quantum field. It's already done in the mind heart of the infinite. Now, we're allowing it to be done through us. And we're allowing it to be done as us. Our bones cry out, it is, therefore I am. It is, therefore I am. It is, therefore I am. And so we let it be. And so it is. And so it be. Amen.
Wow. How's that impact you, brother?
Oh, mate, it's always a trip with being with Michael, because you get into his field and you feel the possibility through his expansion. And for some reason, you have got really clear and the internet's cleared up for you. You're
Wow.
no glitching, nothing. Your face has become clear. Must be the cream. And
Well, hopefully it'll stay. We're going to bring on Andrew and Connie. I'm still going to call them our newlyweds. And they're, of course, two of our favorite people, the members of the Global Peace Tribe. They've been at both of our retreats, and they've got some really cool stuff that they're doing. Connie and Andrew, first of all, any thoughts about what Michael just shared? This fits right into the trust frequency. And then tell us about the trust frequency and tell us about what you're doing.
Well, it's so great to follow Reverend Michael Beckwith, because he's just so articulating the trust frequency in such beautiful words. And all I can say is, if we take what he's saying as absolutely true, we'll shift into what we call the trust frequency, because we walk in total trust of that energy he's speaking of. What did you want to say about that Michael Reverend Beckwith?
He's just so impeccable. I mean, every word from the very first time I saw him in Sedona, God, almost 17 years ago or something, and just went, whoa, he's there. And I don't say that about many people. So he's truly, truly something.
Yeah, it's such a blessing. And our news is that he's also agreed to be in our film, which you have been interviewed for, Scott, and our film In Search of the Future 2, The Only Way Out Is Up. And we were just on with Kathy Mason the other night on her show, The Conscious Business Zone. And it's very exciting what we've got going with the film.
Yeah. So today I finally downloaded all of the almost 60 interviews that we have so far. We've got 545 gigabytes of material so far, and had to build a new computer essentially for this project. And as of today, it is up and running. So that's my big excitement.
Yes, the
Which is
abundant
great.
universe has shown up for
I
us.
get excited about technical things like that.
Yeah, Sunrise Ranch gifted us a computer, and a friend gifted us a hard drive.
Needed a new hard drive, needed all sorts of stuff, needed RAM, blah, blah, blah. And it is rocking right now. So that's exciting for
Yeah,
me.
and we've just gotten Emmanuel Kunzelman and Laura Rose have just donated a very generous donation to our film, so that we can get to Australia for bringing in the Aboriginals. We've just had a great conversation with Dan Atkins over there, who's very connected on a deep soul level with the Aboriginals. And he's welcoming us with open arms, thanks to Zoom, thanks to Unity Earth and all the World Unity Weeks and all those things that are coming up now. We're all bonded heart to heart. And what you're doing here, Scott, with the Awakening World and the retreats, etc. Just that heart bonding that is bringing us to that place of the new earth. So it's just really exciting. And so we do need more funding to get us on the ground, boots on the ground, etc. in Australia, and getting this film done. But we've had lots of great response to our GoFundMe. And our first film was opened in Africa with the Bushmen of the Kalahari, whom Andrew knew very well at that time. So,
and this one opens, and we wrote this one in 2008. It's been on a back burner until this year. And this one opens with a dance, a corroboree dance with the Aboriginals in Australia. Something about going to the world's oldest original humans and to see what message they may have for the rest of us who think we know it all, and that maybe that we've forgotten something.
Well, yeah, and the Aboriginals live in that songline space. I mean, it's a total metaphysical space that they live in, and they're ready to share it. Dan said they're ready to share it. So Andrew's hoping to get a real corroboree dance. They're mostly doing it for the tourists now, but we'll see what unfolds. But it's very exciting for us because it's been on his bucket list, and looks like we're going to get to go. And Linda DeHart has donated air miles for us for my ticket, and Andrew had air miles for his ticket. So the loving universe is suiting up and showing up for this film.
Beautiful. Well, let's all take a moment as we look at Andrew and Connie, and let's just do a global peace tribe prayer for them. Maximum grace for Connie and Andrew and their absolute important projects. Maximum grace that they will attract support, financial and in other ways. And if any of you watching feel inspired to participate and to help, please do. In a moment, I'll ask you guys to put the GoFundMe link into the chat box, and then I'll open it up and share it with people. But 3 more prayers: maximum grace for Connie and Andrew, maximum grace for Connie and Andrew, maximum grace for Connie and Andrew, our absolute beloveds, who will be on the Self-Love Show. You know, Trish still does the Self-Love Show every Thursday. And you can be on the Self-Love Show, is it June 8th or June 15th?
15.
June 15th. All right, so we're gonna have a little bit of time. Let's definitely, and you know, the Self-Love Show is a great show, everybody, to watch. It's Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock. Trish has been doing it since the very start of the pandemic. How's my sound, by the way? Am I playing?
No, perfect now. For some reason, it's just become like nothing's changed.
It's perfect.
Amazing, amazing.
So maybe you could even play something as well.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll do a little short something to see if it works. Here is Connie and Andrew's honeymoon and film fund. They've raised $2,500 out of $8,000, so we got a little ways to go still. But let's really support them. And remember, you can post this on your Facebook page. You can share it with people. And let's get Connie and Andrew's film finished. Because it's really, really important.
Let's get us to Australia. That would just be the biggest blessing.
Oh, Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
Absolutely.
on the Self-Love Show,
guys.
on the Self-Love Show, we're bringing our, pardon?
Self-Love Show, the 15th, 10 in the morning, right?
Yeah, and we're bringing our Dance of Souls in the trust frequency, and it's a process-oriented show. And we have an online course called the Dance of Souls, and I'll actually put in the chat a 50% discount coupon for our online course. That's a great way of supporting us, guys, is taking the course. So we'd love to encourage that by putting in a 50% discount coupon for our Dance of Souls. So which brings in exactly what Michael was just talking about, that everything happens for us, not to us. It lifts us out of victim consciousness into beloved, into knowing how loved we are by the conscious loving energy that he was talking about. And we call it the conscious loving universe. So, so yeah, thanks so much for having us on.
Love you guys. Stick around. We've got some fun stuff coming up. See you soon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad that I'm playing a little bit better. I do want to read a couple of comments that have come in. Doug May wrote something beautifully. He said, I had a flash this afternoon. The Global Peace Tribe is the place where old hippies go to finish the job.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we got a lot of work to do. And I really still believe, you know, I met with the my beloved Deborah, and I met with the twin Ray last night. And they're incredibly tapped in. And really, both Deborah and I came away from that meeting feeling like everything in our life up to this point has been preparation for what we're about to do. And I think that's true for all of us. You know, it really is true for all of us. I'm 67, Deborah's 49. Andrew and Connie are somewhere over 40. I don't know exactly what. They're somewhere over there in their 40s or something. And you know what? We all have had these amazing lives, and it's all preparation for what we're here to do next. So anyway, I love that comment, Doug. Thank you so much. And I think what we're going to do is Omashar is going to play our next video, and it's from Matt Kahn. And I had the pleasure of being with Matt twice in the last 6 weeks. I was with him in Sedona for the Sedona Ascension Conference. And then when I was at the New Living Expo in San Rafael, I was there getting my pass. And I hear, hey, hi, Scott. And I turn around, and the very first person I saw was Matt Kahn. And I ended up having lunch with him. And it was while I was having lunch with Matt Kahn that I met Deborah for the very first time. She came up, and so there you have it. Matt Kahn has been kind of he's been a wonderful part of Global Peace Tribe. He was, you know, on with us during the Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe days. We had a big online party celebrating our sponsors, and Matt was our special guest who came on. He's a great, great guy. When at the expos and the conferences, he just walks around and greets everybody. When he's been on this show, sometimes he'll be like the first one in for the presenters meeting, and he stays for the whole show. He's really a wonderful, wonderful guy. So with that, I am going to turn it over to beloved brother Omashar to play our Matt Kahn video. And so, Matt, thank you again for all the books, all the YouTube videos that you've created, all the travels and the lectures, all the ways that you also have helped light the way for us. And thank you for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here with all of you. And if this is the first time that we are connecting, what I offer is a transmission of healing energy, and it comes through the sound of my voice and through the gaze that comes through eye contact. And I offer it to the world because we're at a point in history where it's not just about the big and bold ideas that we consider, but to actually feel the direct experience that this awakening consciousness is bringing to all. When we reflect, or at least when I reflect over the last 2 years, I went through an extraordinary experience that in some ways was some of the toughest times in my life. I had experienced many awakenings throughout my life, and over the last 2 years, I found myself going through an unexpected experience of coming back fully into the body I had previously woken up from. And in going through an experience of integration, I was so humbled and blessed to experience what I look at as perhaps the next stage beyond awakening, the stage of embodiment. And so as I transmit with all of us tonight, I want to boldly offer this invitation. The invitation that in the new paradigm, the way we raise our vibration is by praising our vibration. And that just as much as we are all way showers and anchors of light, and we are living in a world where the collective aspect of humanity is just discovering unity consciousness, or awakening out of the limitations of individual perception and realizing the interconnectedness that unites us as one. But what I find equally fascinating is also, what are the beings who already have that spiritual orientation? What's their awakening? Because there's no such thing as a spiritual being waiting for the world to get its act together. And just as much as there are beings who are going through a process of existentially erasing the line between individual and collective, we equally, as spiritually oriented beings, are undergoing a process of erasing any perception of separation between spiritual and the personal. And so when we praise our vibration, like I often talk about in Whatever Arises, Love That, it is not love instead of fear. In the new paradigm, it is loving the one who hides in fear. It is not love instead of sadness, but using the love to embrace the sadness within us, so that when we're in the presence of another being who is sad, we have practiced making such peace and such a connection of friendship and intimacy with our own emotions that we can actually hold space for the healings occurring in those who are manifested in our direction. And as spiritual beings, this is a time to erase any imagined barriers between the human experience, the personal experience, and the spiritual reality. We are not waking up out of being a person to hide in higher dimensions. We are bringing our higher dimensional consciousness into the physical form as a gateway that brings unity consciousness into this world, so we can begin collaborating, connecting, and recreating the infrastructure of this world from the inside out, all anchored at the vibration of love. To think about raising a vibration suggests that I'm going to lift my energy above a lower vibration to stay in the higher vibration. And so many beings have the misfortune of then blaming someone who bumped them out of their higher vibrational experience. But when we so boldly praise our vibration as a means of raising our vibration, we are taking the higher aspects of our infinite intelligence, the glory and radiance of our eternal hearts, and we are embracing every wound. We're consoling every fear, and we are allowing ourselves to go through a living experience of alchemy, where we are living embodied agents of transformation that watch the work of art of the universe come alive within us when we love ourselves in response to whatever experience arises. We are no longer on paths assuming or trying to do any amount of spiritual work to get out of certain experiences. We accept from a space of surrendered resolve that every experience that we are having is not a sign of what you haven't worked on, looked at, or processed, or traced back to a past experience. For all of the memories that live in the cells of our bodies are one with the pain the world is still learning to face. And as we love in ourselves what arises spontaneously in experience, we are loosening the collective density that allows the world to find safety, to come out of hiding, and to find the ability to connect heart to heart, and to bask in the glory of true intimacy without the fear of being annihilated by an awakening consciousness that is only intimidating when we hide in our egos and turn away from this invitation to become one with the love that we are. And as I personally reflect on the last few years of what has happened as I've come into the state of embodiment, what was important before has become impeccably important now. My service to humanity is not limited to the books I write, to the YouTube videos that have become popular, to this moment where I'm transmitting with you. My offering to humanity is the artistry of my personal conduct, where in every breath, the most important thing in my entire life is that I am giving anyone that enters my presence a course corrective experience of my gender, a course corrective experience of my race, a course corrective experience of my consciousness, and a course corrective experience of my form. For it is my greatest desire to not assume I know anything about the experiences of anyone's journey, so that I have so much to learn in listening to the unique testimony of every human being. And if they have been negatively affected, or anyone in their ancestry has been affected by the race my body expresses, by the gender my body reflects, by the consciousness I embody, or the form that I remind them of, it is my living duty and service as a heart-centered way shower of unity consciousness to be the difference of experience that allows this world to unite as one, and to do so in the name of love, as we as spiritual beings unite the personal with the spiritual. If we will raise our vibration, let us do so by praising our vibration, and let us love ourselves, connect with others, and face a world of uncertainty as the love that we are.
Boom.
Boom.
That's a big boom.
Thank you. And just really quickly, I just want to say that it is my living testimony, my awareness, and my suggestion that there is a way in which we can resolve every degree of unprocessed pain and darkness, but from the most loving standpoint, because that's the difference between consciousness and unconsciousness. And there is a way, as Neil so eloquently talked about, pure love. And then, of course, here is the follow-up, and we are all here to learn the new way of being. So, and again, Scott and Deborah, both thank you so much for this invitation.
Oh, Matt, thank you so much for being with us. And Matt's going to be back on The Awakening World on Saturday night, June 10th. But between now and then, to discover all things Matt Kahn, it's
All things Matt Kahn.
all things Matt Kahn.
Let's do it.
Because you deserve more love, not
Thank you,
less.
sir.
And it's at his website. It's mattkahn.org. And he spells it MATTKAHN.org. And his books are wonderful. I love his books. I can remember I was at Wilbur Hot Springs when I first read Whatever Arises. Love that. And I was there because I was in a hard time. And that book really helped me, Matt. So anyway, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's
This
an honor.
incredible transmission. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Here we go. Well, thank you for playing that one, Omashar.
My pleasure.
And Omashar is more than just a video disc jockey. He also happens to be an incredible musical recording artist.
It's true.
So, hey, buddy, would you be willing to play a song for us? Just maybe?
Yes, I will. This is definitely a show of winging it, and we're doing pretty well. And I think that the internet goddess is with you right now. So meanwhile,
Okay, good.
I have a song. It's about internet connections. So here we go. That was a joke. Oh, right then. Here we go.
centering my soul. Amazing things abound. Now we've reached our goal. Celebrate your liberation. Shine your love throughout the world. Consciousness proceeds through being. I am here, I am now. I will light the way. Our love will lead us on. Our love will clear the way. Our love will show the world. There's nothing in the way. Let go of stories old and walk into the new. Free to be at last. So stand up and be true and celebrate your liberation. Shine your love throughout the world as consciousness proceeds through being. I am here, I am now. I will light the way. Our love will lead us on. Our love will clear the way. Our love will show the world. There's nothing in the way. The light of love has come, centering my soul. Amazing things abound. Now we've reached our goal. Celebrate your liberation. Shine your love throughout the world. Consciousness proceeds through being. I am here, I am now, and I will light the way. Our love will lead us on. Oh, our love will clear the way. Our love will show the world. There's nothing in the way. Our love will lead us on. Our love will clear the way. Oh, our love will show the world. There's nothing in the way. Our love will lead us on.
Mm. Yay. Thank you.
It's interesting because I get little blue indicators to say someone's joined in the waiting room, and my mind goes, do I play or do I let them in?
I'm trying to let people in at the same time too. People are
We're
coming in.
multitasking and we're doing a darn good job, brother.
We are. How's my internet? Is it good?
It's great at the moment.
All right, good. Well, that's just in time for me to remind everybody that we want to support Omashar. And we do that by going to his website, omashar.com. That's easy to remember, omashar.com. And we want to buy his albums, and we buy his albums from Bandcamp, because Bandcamp is how he gets the best
Remuneration.
remuneration. Thank you. Portion of funds your way. So please do support our beloved brother Omashar.
Thank you.
I am going to try playing a video in a moment to see how it plays. But before I do that, I want to invite those of you who are watching on Facebook and on YouTube to come join the Global Peace Tribe. And today's the perfect day to do it, because today is when we're launching 4 months for the same amount. In other words, if you register to join the Global Peace Tribe, you're going to get the Zoom room links to all of our shows for the next 4 months. So it's a really good time to do it. And for people that register at the $75 level or higher, you can bring 2 of your friends along with it. We want to really grow our Global Peace Tribe. So it's easy to do this. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. And you can learn all about who we are and what we do, all of our different shows. And then click where it says register for the new season. And that'll take you to our brand new registration page. And again, you're going to get the links to all of our shows for the next 4 months. And so, for example, if you missed it on Wednesday night, we had, for those of you who remember Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie, we had our own version of it. What's it like to be happily married to an Arcturian intergalactic channel? And then this is tonight's show where we're showing some moments, favorite moments and favorite luminaries. And then tomorrow, we're going to have a really important show where we're going to be talking about resources for people who are dealing with addiction and compulsion. And we've got some of my favorite experts in that field who are going to be with us.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's show is going to be a really good show because there are so many people hurting in the world and so many people who don't have a spiritual path to go on are going down the other paths. And so it's a really important show. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure we all have compulsions. We all have sometimes what becomes an addiction. It might be something as simple as a tub of vanilla ice cream at the end of the day, or it might be something that has more dangerous consequences. And so what's beautiful about the conscious recovery pathway that we're going to be talking about tomorrow is it's not about blaming or shaming people. It's about understanding that we're all human. We have this pleasure center in the brain that remembers how good that ice cream tastes at the end of the day and how to manage our addiction and our compulsion with a lot of love and compassion.
It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to their perspective because when I was going down my, let's say, addictive blind alley, it was my spiritual path and my spiritual practices which overlighted or overshadowed the addiction, and that's what pulled me out. And what I then I had a comparison. Do I want to be a nonghead with an addiction? Oh, nonghead, I don't know how to rephrase that. Or I had the comparison of the light streaming at me through me when I was on my path and meditating, and it was a choice I had to make, you know, do or die. And so yeah, spiritual path made it up for me. Yes.
Absolutely. And honestly, when my wife passed away, I went through a period where I was drinking too much alcohol. And one of our guests tomorrow, TJ Woodward, was my coach. And he helped me through a really dark time. And I'm happy to say that I am now almost never drinking. And certainly the compulsion part, the addiction part is long gone. So, you know, we all go through those times. And
if we don't have the support, it can not be such a good result otherwise sometimes. So, yeah. So do we
where else can we
carry on?
Most of us know somebody also that's struggling. So again, tomorrow's show is going to be good for, even if those watching don't have a compulsion, but most of us have friends. And we're going to be talking about how to manage supporting our friends, not going into blame or shame, but how to really be supportive. So, all right, I am going to be sending you a Michael Beckwith video in a moment. It's just about ready to pop.
Okay,
And
so the Deepak has downloaded, and I have that ready if you'd like that. If
oh,
we
you
like.
do? Okay, great. Let's do Deepak.
Yeah, it took a while, but Deepak, he goes into things in intricate order, so it was basically like that. So
Well, what's interesting about this particular segment, Omashar, and for everybody, is you remember that the segment we just saw with Michael Beckwith was him talking about quantum healing. This is from the exact same show about 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago on Saturday Night Live. And this is Deepak talking about quantum healing. So we have both Michael Beckwith and Deepak talking about quantum healing. So let's hear what Deepak has to say.
Okay.
Hello, my friends. I'm so happy to be with you again. Today's topic is quantum healing. And I believe there are a lot of luminaries participating, so very happy that quantum healing has become mainstream. So before I say anything, I should just mention that I originally used this word in 1988. I originally coined the expression quantum healing with this book that I wrote in 1988. And it was vilified, it was criticized by mainstream, and I was attacked by many people for using this phrase, quantum healing. Since then, Dr. Amit Goswami has used this phrase. Dr. Amit Goswami is a physicist, and now many years later, 1988, so it's 2022, so we can say 30 years later, quantum healing has been reissued with an introduction by Dr. Rudy Tanzi, who is a geneticist at Harvard and a neuroscientist. With all the knowledge that we have today about epigenetics, I think we can say quantum healing has become mainstream. But most people don't actually understand that the phrase quantum healing is used metaphorically, as is everything that we do in science. Scientific explanations are models for experienced reality. And experienced reality comes only in the form of sensations, perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts. Once again, every experience you have is either a sensation or a perception or an image or a feeling or a thought. And of course, these have their source in pure consciousness. So if we understand consciousness as the ontological primitive, then we realize that everything that we call a physical entity is actually a phenomenon. Everything that you call a physical entity is a phenomenon. So my body looks physical, but it's a phenomenon. It's an intermittent stream of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. That's all it is. And it is not a constant entity. So everyone's body begins as a fertilized ovum, and then it becomes a zygote, and then an embryo, and then an infant, and then a baby, and a toddler, and on, baby, infant, toddler, teenager, adult, and gets older, and then finally dies. So where is the body here? Which body do you have? If you say, I have a body, then which one? The body is an activity. It's a verb. It's not a noun. And the experience of the body is an intermittent stream of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, period. Okay. What about the mind? The mind is also an intermittent stream of thoughts and emotions. So we say, do you have a fixed mind? Obviously not. The mind has been defined as an embodied and relational process that regulates the flow of energy and information in the body. But the body itself is also both embodied and relational. We don't have a fixed body. Okay, every time you look at a body, it's like taking a selfie and forgetting the self. Literally, also, when you define somebody's personality, it's like taking a selfie of their mind and calling it the self. The self is much more than mind and body. It's the source of all experience. And body and mind are one unit. So just like wave and particle are one unit, mass and energy are one unit, space and time are one entity. So is body and mind, but it's an entity that's a phenomenon, even though it appears as a form. So this is true, by the way, of everything. Every form is a phenomenon, and every phenomenon, at least as far as our biology is concerned, is the arising and subsiding of an intermittent stream of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. And once we understand that, then we can also see that these experiences, this is what we call experience. Sensation is an experience. Hardness, softness, brightness, color. These are all sensations or sense perceptions. But as we look at any form, we'll see that the form itself is the arising and subsiding of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. And what is the source? The source is pure consciousness. So what is quantum healing? It is going to the source. Okay. The source of thought is also the source of perception. It's also the source of emotions. It's also the source of any experience. It's also the source of how we define things. So labels and descriptions and metaphors, all, where are they conceived? In consciousness. So consciousness conceives, governs, constructs, and becomes everything that we call reality, including the reality of our body and our mind. And when we go to this source through meditation, and there are many ways to meditate. My new book, Total Meditation, goes into the whole range of meditative practices, including self-reflection, self-inquiry, understanding the role of emotional intelligence and self-regulation, understanding the meaning of joy, empathy, compassion, love, truth, goodness, beauty, harmony, but most importantly, understanding that when we go to the source of thought, then we encounter the source of all experience. And if you don't interfere with that, that is the source of what we call quantum healing. Now, in physics, of course, the word quantum means the smallest indivisible unit of energy, in which waves of energy are emitted or absorbed. But using it as a metaphor for the body, a quantum of experience is what we call a qualia, quality of awareness. So colors, shapes, forms are all qualia, as are tastes and smells and textures and sounds, but also emotions, thoughts, feelings, and even imagination. They're all qualia. Qualia means qualities of awareness, which means awareness, pure consciousness, modifying itself as those experiences. By modifying our experiences in the direction of truth, goodness, beauty, harmony, love, compassion, joy, equanimity, but most importantly, through transcendence of all experience. So experience can be perception of the world, it can be interoception, knowing what's happening inside the body, but it can also be emotions or feelings and thoughts, and all these are entangled with each other, and they're all modified forms of pure consciousness. So what is pure consciousness? Pure consciousness has the following characteristics. Number one, it's a field of infinite possibilities. Number two, it's a field of non-local correlation, which means everything is correlated with everything else. Today, we also call that entanglement, synchronicity, superposition, but basically everything is inseparably one with everything else. And number three, pure consciousness is unpredictable. We can't say what our next thought will be or our next experience will be. Number four, pure consciousness is infinitely creative because it is unpredictable. Direct correlation between unpredictability and creativity. And finally, it's the source of attention and intention. So once we understand these are the qualities of pure consciousness, we can modify pure consciousness into any experience through a combination of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, perceptions. The key is transcendence, going beyond thought, going beyond the secret passages, the dark alleys, the ghost-filled attics of the mind, and going to the source of all experience, and then abiding there with a subtle intention. In yogic traditions, this is called dharana. Dharana means focused awareness, focused attention. Dhyan, which means meditation, and samadhi, which means transcendence. This is the key. If we can do that, and this also has a Sanskrit word for it, it's called sankalpa. Sankalpa means subtle intention. So unlike the Western ontological frameworks that we have about reality, where the ontological primitive of the universe is matter, we in the Eastern wisdom traditions say that matter is just a convenient metaphor for modified forms of consciousness. And the key to healing is actually getting to the source. That includes social and emotional intelligence, that includes withdrawal of the senses, that includes controlled breathing, that includes mind-body coordination through yogasanas, but it also includes interoception, which is withdrawal of the senses. And then dharana, dhyan, samadhi. These are the 8 limbs of practice that get us to the source of all experience. In that source of all experience is least entropy. And there is homeostasis. Homeostasis means self-regulation, which means hormones are being self-regulated, immune function is being self-regulated, everything, body temperature is being regulated. So if you want to use a simple word for quantum healing, it would be the return to the memory of wholeness, or return to homeostasis, or return to source, or return to the presence of being. Now, of course, there are a lot of nuances, and I outlined them in my books on meditation, which include understanding the whole totality of awareness, awareness of 5 senses, awareness of the body, awareness of the interior of the body, awareness of mental space, awareness of the web of relationship, awareness of the ecosystem, which we call the biosphere, of which we are an expression, and ultimately awareness of awareness. And when we get to that, then we are holy, we are whole, and we are healed. And that healing is ultimate healing. It means we find freedom in our inner being, and understand that our inner being, our true self, is independent of all experience. It's independent of anything that we can call a perception or a sensation or an image or a thought. And in that freedom is wholeness, self-regulation, the return of the memory of who we really are. The word whole, the word healing, and the word whole, healing, whole, are the same. When we return to presence, to source, we are holy and we are healed. And at that moment, there is transcendence. We experience our true nature as beyond space, time, and causality. We also experience the emergence of platonic values like truth, goodness, harmony, and we lose the fear of death because the true self is not subject to birth and death. The true self is formless, and being formless, it is infinite and is constantly modifying itself into finite experiences. But as long as we are aware that every finite experience has a source in the infinite, and that infinite source of being is actually the true self, beyond our ego mind, beyond our socially constructed identity as an ego body mind squeezed into the volume of a body or the span of a lifetime. When we go beyond that, we are healed. That's what quantum healing is. So all the best, my friends. Join this whole movement of understanding that the physical body is actually a projection of the subtle body, and the subtle body is a projection of the causal body, and the causal body itself is the projection of infinite, formless, unbounded, eternal, timeless being, which is our inner self. Thank you, and God bless.
Well, thank you, Deepak. Oof.
Right.
I mean, even Deepak got a little bit lost with his own wisdom.
Kind of, sort of. What I was thinking, because I've seen that before. However, each time you see something, you have a fresh mind, or you've expanded. And I followed most of that, you know, right into the unseen, and that comes more from my meditation practices. I've been struggling with them lately. I meditate 2 or 3 times a day, but I've been struggling to get into that total silence. But what he speaks about from the unformed being, you know, I get it. I get it how it is, and so I pat myself on the head for maybe getting 60% of that, whereas before I got 40. So
you were moving up in the world, partner.
I know.
Yeah, part of the Twin Ray actually have asked me to meditate with at the same time that they all meditate, which is 3:30 in the morning every day.
Wow.
And Deborah's been doing that, so she's like, "Yeah, absolutely, it's easy." And I'm like, so I made a 30-day commitment to get up and meditate at 3:30 in the morning every day for the next 30 days.
That is awesome, and I also know that at that time of the day, it's a peak time for silence, etherically and with everything that's going on around you. So I'm looking forward to see the brand new shiny Scott. So.
We're working on it. We're working on it. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna see. How's my video so far? Am I still? Great. Okay, I'm going to try playing a video. Originally, I didn't think I was going to be here today. And so I asked Omashar to pick which presenters he wanted to see. And of course, you know, Michael Beckwith and Deepak Chopra are obvious, but I was really intrigued that he chose one of our next generation presenters, which is Erikaa Briones. And this is actually from a recent show that we did all about sacred sexuality. And I had my old friend, Annie Sprinkle. Annie and I went to junior high school together. She went on to become one of the foremost voices for the sex positive movement. And I've had on the show a few times Erikaa Briones, who's very honest about her relationship to the sex positive world. And so it was really fun having kind of the older generation and the next generation. So this is Erikaa Briones, and you'll see she's referencing just after we've listened to Annie Sprinkle speak. And so this is for you, Omashar. Here's Erikaa Briones. Omashar, give me a thumbs up if it's playing well and a thumbs down if it's not. So a chance to talk with you. And just kind of to look at where we've been and where we're going. So welcome, Erikaa.
Thank you. And my heart is just beaming listening to you, Annie, when you talked about your story. And I remember we were talking about privilege, that some sex workers, when they get into this, they have like a poor mindset. They have a poverty mindset. And when I started doing this work, it was a poverty mindset. I had a pimp when I first started, and I had a college education, which is really surprising. But my emotions, I was still developing my relationship to myself, my relationship as a woman. And when I got into sex work, it initiated me to love my sensuality, to own. So I went from poverty mindset to wealthy mindset because I started to love myself as a sex worker. And so when I came out last year, actually 2 years ago, I started to write Sacred Prostitute Chronicles, and it was a healing journey to write this. And there's a part that I haven't got yet in my chronicles, and it was when I started to discover my sensuality, my sisterhood. And I picked up this book called Urban Tantra, and the foreword was by this woman named Annie Sprinkle. And I said, I don't know, this was my Bible, like this book called Urban Tantra, and then you wrote the foreword. I said, I want to feel this excitement about what I'm doing. I want to feel purposeful. I want to feel passionate to share this and be proud about it. But I had so much shame because of society, because it's stigmatized, because it's illegal. And even this conversation is so reassuring. I'm self-soothing my body by having this conversation. So when I used to be in sex work, it was very taboo. I was living a lie, and it feels yummy, delicious to just share your truth. And then the more that I'm sharing my truth, since I wrote my biography on, like, I want to witness this masculine, feminine healing. I want to be witness to this consciousness. And suddenly I have a lot of females reaching out to me for mentorship because I want them to win. I want them to feel safe. And honestly, when you're a sex worker, you learn a lot about artistry. You learn about beauty, flirting, sensuality. There's just so much magic to it. And I feel that it's been a privilege to be a sex worker in this body. So I have so many stories to share, but what I will share is that sharing about it is healing. And I will say that discovering mentors, like sex educators, gave me this appetite for passion, for purpose that I never had before in my life. Because anyone can have a job and anyone can, just sell their soul and not really appreciate who they are in that job. So anyone can be prostituting themselves in a job. It might be triggering for some of you, but the truth is, even when I was a sex worker for most of the time, I was in that prostitute mentality, like just get $1, just go by. But eventually when I started to study more about Tantra and BDSM, I fell in love with the energy, with just understanding how my body works, learning how my skin feels, feeling orgasmic with my breath. I didn't know about how simple meditating is, how simple closing your eyes is. We sometimes think that sex work is all about sex. It's not. And that's the mistake that we see in sex workers, is that it has to be sex focused. But some of my best sessions has been me holding clients crying. Some of my best sessions have been them telling me how they're unhappy in their relationships. And so in a way, I felt like, I think I'm supposed to be a coach or something, because these people need something more than sex. They're hungry for something deeper that food can't give them. Yes. And so when I started this work, it was like, it's not just about sex. They're lonely, they're tired, they're hungry for something on a soul level. So when I started to discover that my work wasn't just about, an In-N-Out burger, it wasn't a job, it was like, they want substance, they want soul food, they want mama food, so they can feel satisfied from the inside out. And that's what this journey has taught me. It's not just about the instant gratification, it's about the human experience. And so that's the beauty that I gained from this work. Is it's taught me a lot about owning my story, owning my voice. And I still remember watching these women just go online and share their story, and I would look at these videos thinking, that will never be me. Until I said, what happens if I become that? What happens if I start writing about it? What happens if I start coming out? Then other people heal in your truth. And so even sharing here, I still feel nervousness in my body, but in a way, it is healing to share our truth, because our society, especially in the US, it's so taboo. But I also know if I do go to other parts of the world, it's so liberating. It's so free. I think in Australia, it's legal. And I just know from experience, the US can be taboo. So that's
There's
a little bit about my experience.
many places there's different styles of sex work. There's 4 different kind of venues or like legalization kind of ways, especially in Europe, and there's Australia. There's a couple places, and obviously the Dutch kind of countries, and Paris, France, aspects around there, and they're all different styles. They're practicing and learning and trying to find ways that sex work can be legal, where people can be freer. I think Ireland, just because they're 2 different, that something's shifted there, and I love that. I love that you said that that you were really vulnerable about sharing the nervousness, because there is still some unsafety in sharing it, right? And just like Annie said, is like, can't believe we're still struggling through legalization here or even decriminalization here in the US.
Yeah.
People are desperate for connection, and they're looking towards anything. Like, a lot of men are taught that connection is sex, and women are taught that connection is love. So it's just like this whole weird dynamic where we're deeply seeking deeper connection and exploration of our pleasure. As Annie said, is pleasure activism. One of the things that I do in my work is that I go on couples retreats. Like, I go with couples to wherever they want to go, or their home maybe, and I teach them. Well, I work their breakdowns with them, whatever their emotional communication breakdowns are, and then I'll teach them the sexual skills that they want. Whether that's I don't use the T word anymore, Tantra, because I'm not practiced enough. I haven't studied long enough, but the sacred sexuality pieces. And I've been a heavy player in the BDSM realm for over 11 years, like high level protocol games. And that's been incredibly powerful to have people go, whoa, I had, and again, it's the sort of the gray area of the line of what I'm doing and and what sex work is it really is, if we can expand the concept a little bit to offer people what they're really seeking, right? The heart-centeredness, I'm curious, if you wanted the world to know anything, what would you want anyone here in the world to hear about sexuality or sex work, or just like if you had like a gift for everyone that you want to like invest or plant into their heart, what would it be?
Hire a sex worker would change your life. Hire a sex worker. That would be my piece of advice, because you wouldn't have that stigmatized if you have a beautiful experience. It can be so loving and transformational. I've worked with a couple before where, again, it wasn't sexual. It was just like, okay, I just want you to connect and like look at your wife. You haven't really looked at her for a while in a different light. Instead of looking at her like a mother, or her job, or her title, or what her body weight is, or her skin color, look at her like a woman. And today is International Women's Day. So for the men, really look at your woman and celebrate her with your eyes. And just in that connection alone, you're having that sensual experience. And while there might be a sex worker in the room, they will guide you to go deeper into that connection, because they can see the blind spots. And yeah, there might be some sexy massage involved, and candles and laughter. But we just kind of like shift you to just cross more into your heart space. And so, yeah, if you actually hire a conscious, sacred sex worker, who I believe are light workers, like sex workers are light workers. we're actually doing the biggest work. We're doing the biggest transformation. I would say that would be my piece of advice.
So how do we get to hire you, Erikaa? I think everyone should hire you.
Thank you. Well, I recently left the sex industry. So I was in the sex industry from 2012 until the pandemic. So March of 2020. So my 3-year anniversary is this month. So it's my 3-year anniversary of leaving the sex industry, because I would rather just mostly focus on coaching and going deeper. But I do feel like my biggest mission is to support other sex workers. Like that is my calling, to just mentor these future sex workers. If other sex workers want me to mentor them, that would be a dream come true. Like any way I can support my fellow sex workers would be something I would look forward to. And I do have to say, endorse one company that completely changed my life, and that was Bondage. So shout.
Unmute.
It does help to unmute. I'm going to bring you back on, Omashar, because I'm curious. Having been the person that said, let's have Erikaa on the show again tonight, what stood out for you? What made you suggest Erikaa, and watching this again?
Just because of her bright, honestly, I forgot the content. And then when I just felt her spirit, I really wanted to see it again and share it again. And it's interesting because the show that it came out of was all about this topic. It was different, and seeing it in the context of Deepak, Chopra and Elijah and everything, and suddenly having the sex worker thing in there, suddenly I'm noticing all the places of myself where I'm feeling triggered by watching it, which is kind of interesting. And it's I don't know what, there's nothing to do with it, but I'm just being open. And
Yeah.
so I love that she thinks that she's a light worker, because she is.
Totally.
Absolutely, truly. And so I'm just feeling in myself where maybe there's still judgment there. I don't know. But, until you get faced with something, the reality of something, it doesn't trigger whatever spaces are within you. And so I'm celebrating the fact that it's come up in me, and I'm going to bring the light into those places and embrace it more. So, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed it too. I didn't have a judgment, but it was like when we have an entire show on the topic and we've kind of eased into it, but it was an interesting juxtaposition to go from Deepak Chopra to Erikaa,
Well,
But
it
it's what I'm proud of in terms of our show, because I do want us to give voice to the next generation, and to bring on quantum healing one night, and to bring in really understanding the sex positive movement on another night.
Because it's our whole world, and we have to embrace and love everything into wholeness. And if somewhere it's lurking in my consciousness where I don't love it in wholeness, I'm glad that it's been brought into my face so that I can love it into wholeness. Because I know that we have another Michael is it Michael we have to come up?
Yeah. We've got one more Michael Beckwith that you're going to play.
Yes. And so maybe that's good for Erikaa and for now. I don't know. What do you think?
All right. Let's go back to Michael Beckwith.
All right. Michael, we love you, brother. So please talk to us about the previous topic. There we go. All right. So that goes up there. And this goes here. And we go here. And we go here.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being with us. And this is it. This is the culmination of 99 days of unity that then led into the 11 days of global unity and Peace Week. And this is kind of our final culmination. And would love to hear your thoughts on how do we move forward? How can we truly create peace through unity?
Well, first of all, we have to have an understanding, what those words even mean. When we come to an understanding what unity means is that we are inextricably bound to the universal presence. We're one with the presence. in a very way that a wave is at one with the ocean, ocean's waves, sun beams. And this universal presence emanates as each and every one of us as distinct units of infinite potential. The issue is that people are sleepwalking in a sense of separation from the isness and the nowness and the foreverness of life itself. And in that sleepwalking state, there is a sense of scarcity, a sense of lack, which produces immature competition. It produces jealousy, envy, malice, greed. These tendencies emanate from a very limited perception that limits the dynamic of peace. Now, peace, as I describe it, is the dynamic of harmonizing good. Peace is not merely the absence of conflict or intensity or negativity. Peace is a quality all of its own. It's a quality just like love. It's a quality like beauty and joy and harmony. It's a very real quality that's intrinsic to us. But when our perception is limited, we block our own peace. And so what happens is when individuals don't understand their unity, when they've fallen asleep to it, they move into the world with a limited perception. And from that limited perception, they produce very limiting experiences. And so we look at the world, and the world is the condensation of previously held beliefs, points of views, opinions. So when we look at the world of discord and tumult and worry and doubt and hate and wars and rumors of wars, that's the condensation of a perception of separation. So in order to have peace, we have to come back to a sense of unity, which we get either through pain or through insight. If an individual or humanity has enough pain, then they become available to more insight, more compassion, more love, but we don't have to grow that way anymore. You know, now the universal teachings have been centralized all around the globe. They're not, they used to be, you know, hundreds of years ago, it used to be centralized around in singular figures, Kuan Yin, Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, you know, individuals around the world, and they had cultural implications to it. Well, today, these teachings are everywhere. And they're not centralized around an individual. They are everywhere in our society. 40 years ago, these teachings were on the peripheral. Today, they're central. Everyone knows about the law of attraction. Everyone knows that your thoughts can either make you sick or make you healthy. Everyone knows that your perception produces experience. We all know this. So now that we all know this, now we have to all practice it at some level, which is what we're doing here on this particular conversation, and everything you have brought together over the past weeks and months is to go to a deep level of practice where our attention is so focused on unity and oneness, and our attention is so focused on being avenues of peace that we actually create a field rich for a quantum leap into an awareness of what's possible. Now, a quantum leap is going from one level of a consciousness to another without a ladder. It's a vibrational leap based on intention and based on availability. Now, going back to a previous point, there's a difference between the planet and the world. They're not synonymous. The planet is Mother Earth, Gaia, mainly water, 3/4 water, mountain ranges, rainforests, oceans, rivers, lakes. You know, it's a living entity that's conscious. That's Mother Earth. And we're all simultaneously earthlings and spiritual beings having an earthling incarnation. But then there is the world. The world is not the earth. The world is a collection of agreements and points of view and opinions that have condensed themselves. So people can be any place on the planet, but be in different worlds based on their perception. So what we're doing here is trying to elevate people's awareness to come into a different world. a different world view. And the real world view is abundance, is enough for everyone. The world view is love, a total cascading of the presence, totally loving without any sense of withhold. We're elevating people to a world view of generosity, compassion, peace that emanates from the depth of our being. And when we share in that world and give from that world and generate from that world, we lose nothing, but we gain everything. And so we're inviting people to come out of the myopic point of view of scarcity, lack, limitation, separation, and come into the real world in which abundance and the beauty and life itself is totally cascading out of no thing to become the very somethingness of our existence. And so when you ask, how can we bring peace from a sense of unity? The consciousness of unity is extremely important. And today, metaphysicians and mystics have been teaching this for hundreds of years. Today we have allies in science. The mystical marriage has happened again. What was divorced in the Middle Ages, now the marriage has happened again. You have evolutionary biologists, you have quantum physicists, you have epigenetics, you have individuals that are now basically sharing scientifically what metaphysicians and mystics have been teaching for years, that we are inexplicably bound, integrated in the fundamental reality of oneness. There is no separation, it's an illusion. And so so through affirmative prayer and meditation and life visioning and sacred conversation and high fellowship, we break the limited perception, embody insight, and we begin to live in the world of unity right now. And it's not an escape. It's not pretending that bad things aren't happening on the planet. It's not burying our head in the soil and pretending that there aren't issues. It's the exact opposite. When we are fueled by a sense of oneness and unity and peace, we go into the world, but we are of a higher frequency. We're actually bringing into the world love and peace and harmony and joy. We're actually bringing compassion, kindness. We're bringing it into the world so that we become vibrational clearinghouses. We actually become clearinghouses that can basically transmute the thought forms emanating from the separation, transmute them to a higher frequency, and we literally become untouched by the lower frequencies because we're vibrating too high to be touched. However, we can have an impact on the lower frequencies. So understand what I just said. The lower frequencies don't have an impact on us, but because of our higher frequencies, we have an impact on the lower frequencies, which begin to speed up and vibrate at a higher level. So we can literally change the world through having a real sense of oneness and an intention to be a vehicle of peace, not pretending that destructive things aren't happening, not pretending that hate isn't in the world, but coming to an understanding that love is more powerful than hate, that peace is more powerful than discord, that joy and beauty are more powerful than seeming ugliness. They vibrate at a higher frequency, so they're more potent, more powerful. So our role is to absolutely be committed to having that active within us, becoming less reactive in the world, but more responsive from the frequency of unity and peace. And as that happens, we really become the harbingers and the ambassadors of a world that's trying to be birthed, whether we call it the beloved community, whether we call it Shangri-La, whether we call it paradise, whether we call it heaven on earth. It's not wishful thinking. It's a vibratory frequency of unity and peace that is embodied. Now, I use the word embodied on purpose because oftentimes, over the past 30, 40 years, people have been really interested in like channeled material coming through people and channeling this great universal truths. But today, we're to embody those teachings, not just rely on some channel, but to actually do our work so well that we actually become a living embodiment of peace and of love and compassion and generosity. Because when a human being, somebody who's in the body, embodies the truth that makes us free, it is way more potent than a channeler just channeling the information and not embodying it. But as we as human beings become dedicated to embodying it, there's a quickening of that quantum state that brings heaven to earth, not in some by and by, but through us as a living being, you see. And that's what we're called to do. That's our challenge today. That's basically what we are about, to take this incarnation and infuse it with such light and luminosity that the world changes from a glory to a greater glory, to better and better and better expressions of the love and the peace and the harmony that's intrinsic to us all. Yeah.
So when we're listening to you speak, and we've had other amazing people like Jude Curvin, who just announced her unitive narrative, when we're in meditation, when we're in prayer, we're in that state, we remember it. But when we're out in the world, when we're working, when we're at the market, when we are seeing horrible things coming through the news, what's a practice, a tool for us to embody the oneness, to embody the higher vibration?
I call some of the practices, one of the practices I've taught recently is called a transformational rant. What I mean is, recently I was traveling and I was at the airport, and the gentleman who was checking to see if you had a pre-checked ticket or not, you know, as people were passing by, he was looking at the ticket and he was saying, hey boss, you're wonderful. Hey boss, you're great. You're sweet. He did this to every single person traveling all day long. And he was full of energy. So I thought to myself that we need to develop a transformational rant in our awareness. So as we're going through our day, either out loud when it's appropriate, or inside of our own consciousness, we say, you're great, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, that we so fill our mind with saying and having this inner conversation of you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're magnificent, hey boss, you're great, so that begins to fill our mind. And we add that to this. If we are really about our own unfoldment, we don't have a lot of time to criticize others. If we are criticizing others, which means we're not using the time to improve ourselves. So if we're using the time to really up-level our own consciousness, we don't have time to criticize or gossip about anybody else. There's no time for it. And if you can go through a transformational rant and spend your time actually doing an inquiry of your own soul as to how you can be a better version of yourself, you don't have time for anything else. You're not looking for negativity. You're not projecting negativity. You're holding a higher frequency on the planet. So those are two things that I would offer. Create some kind of transformational rant in your awareness that's constantly repetitive until it's just automatic. You see somebody, you're beautiful. You don't have to say it out loud. It may not be appropriate to say it out loud. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. All of your needs are met. You're magnificent. You see? And then the other time is used, what is it within me that's trying to emerge now? What gift am I to give today? How can I serve today? If we do that, then the mind becomes more available to the truth and less available to being hijacked by the world.
My mentor, Marshall Rosenberg, my favorite quote was, the greatest joy in life is to contribute to the well-being of another. Always ask, how can I make life more wonderful for you? And that was his transformational rant.
That's right. And see, the key word, the key thing at our time, at this time in human history, is practicing that, because the teachings are everywhere. You have all manner of people now jumping up, putting up websites and teaching these principles. Many of them are novices, many of them are just started, but it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, because they're teaching themselves as they're learning. But now it's everywhere. When I started teaching 40 years ago, people thought I was weird, you know what I mean, and exotic. and then that which was peripheral has now become central. So now it's all, people have caught up to the teachings. But now that we know this stuff, and it's again been proven by the allies of science and evolutionary biologists and quantum physicists, now it's time to practice, and to have a practice every single day so that the embodiment takes place, so that we can actually be in the world fully, but be of the emerging paradigm that needs us to express itself on earth. It's not just going to come out of the sky and happen. It's going to happen through us, but there must be a vibrational match, which is why we meditate, which is why we affirmatively pray, which is why we vision, so that there's a match vibrationally within us, so that heaven comes to earth through us, not to us, but through us, and then ultimately as us. Yeah.
Are you optimistic that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm optimistic because an optimist is not someone who believes that there are no issues. An optimist is just someone who knows that there's a solution to every issue. So every issue that we're facing, there's already a solution to it. There's no water shortage. We're 3/4 water. So the technology already exists to convert water into drinkable water. It already exists. There's already technology to take the soils that we have rendered inert through the misuse of a crop rotation. There's already technology to transform the earth, that literally to transform the earth, to make it available for growing again. There's already technology to have 0 point free energy. There's already technology on the planet right now for healings and modalities of health that aren't yet available to the public. So there's already solutions to the issues that we're facing. So now that we're becoming incarnate beings, we're the ones who are breaking the old paradigm to setting these solutions free that heretofore have been held hostage for profit. You see? The old paradigm is holding many solutions at bay so it can continue to control and garner profit from the belief of scarcity or lack, which doesn't exist in a multidimensional universe. So as an optimist, I see solutions, even though I don't deny that there are issues.
Beautiful. Thank you for that definition. Last question. Some say that heaven on earth is already here, and we just need to become in that same vibrational frequency like you were talking about. Others say that there has to be a mass collective, enough individuals need to embody the vibrational frequency before that happens. Is it which of those, or is it both? How do you?
It's both. It's not an either or. Right now, heaven is here. Right now, infinite potential, infinite possibilities surrounds us right now. There's an eternal broadcasting throughout all creation saying, let there be life, let there be light, let there be beauty. That's happening now. And at the same time, every time someone breaks through from the limiting paradigm and has a breakthrough, has an insight, they're adding to the field of receptivity that quickens the day in which all flesh shall see it together. So it's both and. It's here and now, and many people are already living in it, and the people that are already living in it are adding a kind of a momentum so that other people can see it more quickly. In other words, the veil is thin, you see. And as anyone rises up, there's a quantum statement that's attributed to Jesus the Christ, Yeshua ben Joseph, when he said supposedly, as I am lifted up, I draw all unto me. That's a quantum statement. As I go into a higher frequency, I bring everyone up. So as each and every one of us move up, and it's really no up or down in an infinite. It's really, as we expand our awareness, we can use the word up and down as a linguistic convenience. We draw others into that frequency. So it's both. It's here now, and more people will see it as more people are being it.
I've got to ask this last one. So as we and the people watching this program are lifting up, do you believe that there are dark forces trying to bring us back down? Some people believe that, some people don't. What is your thought about that?
There is what you call ignorance that has hijacked individuals' minds, individuals with bodies, individuals without bodies. And in that ignorance, and operating from a sense of separation, they have a tendency to try to block the light, you see. But they are less powerful than the light itself. So it's egoic. And whenever you rise, then the egoic dimension individually and collectively tries to suppress. The ego in us does not know the difference between enlightenment and annihilation. And so it's afraid of enlightenment because it thinks it's going to be annihilated. And it is in that dynamic, you see. And so we don't spend a lot of time worrying about the seeming dark forces or the Luciferian energies. You know, those are just downward spiraling energy, which simply means that the light is coming into density. We don't spend a lot of time worrying about that. We spend most of our time raising our frequency because it's way more powerful than the energy that's seeking to delay that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Reverend Michael, I so appreciate your time, and thank you on behalf of all of our viewers, and thank you for the beautiful gifts you give to our world and for being an embodiment of peace yourself. Thank you, Michael.
Hey, it is absolutely my joy to be with you. We here at the Agape International Spiritual Center are absolutely in alignment, in sponsorship, in vibration, and in frequency of all that's happening in this dynamic program. Thank you for the invitation.
Viva la raising the vibrancy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being with us. And this is the culmination. Hey, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed Michael Beckwith. And one of the reasons that I chose to show that is that was at the culmination of last year's Peace Through Unity program. Now, a reminder that every year, it gets a little confusing, there's World Unity Week, which leads to the 11 days of global unity, which then leads to the 99 days of Peace Through Unity, which culminates in Peace Week in the fall, okay? And they all are kind of, it's all geometric. And we are about to have World Unity Week. And again, what we want to do is World Unity Week is where we really all come together. It's a very celebratory time. And every year, the Awakening World kicks World Unity off. World Unity Week starts this year on June 17th. It starts with our Awakening World. We're going to do the kickoff program. It closes 1 week later on June 24th, also a Saturday, also Awakening World, and we will close it. So we're very integrated with our friends Ben Bowler and John and Summer Raymer. In fact, Summer Raymer is going to make a guest appearance on tomorrow's show. But I just want to really encourage everybody, make sure you're going to be with us 2 weeks from tonight for the opening night celebration for World Unity Week. Again, it all kind of goes through all these different stages that then culminated last year with the Peace Day, and that's what Michael Beckwith was sharing with us. So I just really want to encourage everybody to make sure you're with us 2 weeks from tonight and bring friends. The other thing to think about, and this is a big part of our Global Peace Tribe announcements, is we're going to be asking everyone to make a commitment, something in your life that over the course of the summer, the 99 days of unity for Dorina and those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, It'll be your winter time. What's a goal? What's a goal that you want to accomplish? It could be personal, it could be professional, but we're going to all share our goals with each other over the next few weeks. And we're going to support each other to be wildly successful in those goals. So that's a big part of what we're going to be doing. So start thinking about what you want your goals to be. A reminder one more time that tomorrow our show is going to be all about conscious recovery, tips, tools, and practices. And of course, we'll have Omashar with us, as well as 4 guests, one of whom was my coach. We're also going to hear from India and Roland and Annie Rogers. And then just taking a little look at next week, we've got some fun stuff. Now, next week, the entire week, all 3 shows are going to have the same theme. And I'm going to bring Omashar on to talk about this because he knows all about this theme. It's all about living your Dharma through creative expression. All 3 shows next week. Living your Dharma.
What a great topic! What a great topic, Scott. And that you have different people representing it in each different show. It's going to be so interesting. I love hearing all these different perspectives because it helps me distill my own perspective. And I think my Dharma is my music. And yet, as I awaken, bring more light into myself, I'm finding this flux with my ego saying, no, you need to get back into the world and be a normal person. And my inner self going, well, no, this emerging you is awesome. Just go with it, dude. And so I'm really looking forward to the perspective of these 3 shows next week, just to help me, let alone everybody else. Yes.
Well, you are truly mastering and showing us how to live your Dharma. And again, Dharma, everybody, for anybody who doesn't know the term, Dharma is when we're in our service to the world. When you're in right livelihood, you're in your Dharma. And here's who we're going to have next week. We're going to kick it off on Wednesday night we're bringing back 2 people you've seen before, Beth Bell and Ilse Faye. You know, Ilse puts on the Erotic Film Festival, and that's quite a creative expression. And of course, we'll have Trish and Omashar and I sharing about it. And then on Saturday night, a week from tonight, we're collaborating once again with our dear friends from Soul Search. My co-host will be Tangela, and really special things happening a week from tonight. Kristen Hoffman has been working for 7 years on an album. That album is going to be released in a couple of weeks, and she's going to do the world premiere of one of her songs from the album right here on The Awakening World next Saturday night. And of course, talk about her process of creative expression and her Dharma. And then Tangela has booked several soul searchers that I don't know, but she always brings in great people that are artists talking about that process. So that's going to be next Saturday night. So definitely join us if at all possible. And then finally, on the Sacred Sundays show, we're working with Europeans and Canadians. These are all people from foreign countries. Alexander, Rama, and Pops are all from Europe. And then you all know Tatiana Speed from Canada. So they're going to be all answering. So we'll get kind of a global perspective about it. And Alexander and Rama run a creative arts institution in Europe. You might remember them. They were on the show maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. So that's going to be our topic for next week. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes,
Omashar, you
sir.
have the choice. Are we
I
going?
do have the choice. We're going to go for me. I'm going to pick.
Great.
We're going to pick me because we can save that other secret for some other time.
All right.
And just gratitude for this platform, Scott, because we're all shifting. I've been now here for, I don't know, 1.5 years now, and I'm not the same person that I was 1.5 years ago. And there's been quite a struggle going on within me to emerge. And it's my music and which is my Dharma and my practice, my spiritual practice every day, which has helped me emerge. And this song is called The Miracle. and it's about emerging.
Before you start, Omashar, I did forget kind of the most important announcement, which is that we've kicked off the new season.
Right?
Right?
Yes.
I like promote everything except for like the money thing. So, hey, everybody, please, if you haven't, well, all of you have registered. Most of you had registered previously, but we are launching the whole next season. So in other words, if you register tonight or over the weekend, you're going to get the Zoom room links for the next 4 months. You'll get an email and I'll give you the links, which are the ones that you already have for this month of June. And then you're going to get the links for July, August, and September. And what I'm offering is, again, for anybody who comes in at the $75 level or higher, you can bring 2 friends in with you. And we want to grow our audience. We do these great shows and we need more people watching because I really want to make it worthwhile for all of our wonderful presenters. And every show we do, I'm like, this is a great show. So I've put the link into the chat box and would really appreciate, please register for this next season, get your links and be generous. Come on in at the higher level and then email me with the, and my email address is right there. Email me with the names and email addresses of your friends that you want to provide a subscription to the Global Peace Tribe. And again, they'll get a subscription for the next 4 months. So I'm so glad I remembered to do that.
I know, right? It's funny, isn't it? It's like I've been in this Dharma business for years and I haven't had a business cap on. It's like, give me a manager. I should have a, I don't know, not a Tesla, an electric Mercedes by now. But
you should.
Yeah, really. However, I'm happy. I'm whole. I have a roof. I have family. I have food. And Ayata, thank you for that comment just now. I appreciate that because I appreciate it myself too. And also tonight, in a couple of hours, it's a strawberry full moon. So it's a really good time to meditate and have strawberries. Dipped in chocolate, of course. If it was my mum, it'd be dark chocolate. But me, I'm a milk chocolate dude. So.
All right. So you either need to be dancing or registering for the new season while he plays this song.
I've changed like a butterfly. It's something very new. I'm feeling so alive, and yes, it's true. Nothing is the same, bigger than before. And yet I know that I am still a child without a care in this new world. And so connected to you, an innocent new life, a heart so true. A dream that seems so far away is living here in me, freeing all the pain that paved the way. The miracle of love has opened up the door, and now I know that I am still a child without a care in this new world, and so connected to you. An innocent new life, a heart so true. once again. I'm feeling so secure, and yet I know that nothing's like before. My mind is now at peace, no need to know the way. And yes, I'm glad that I am still a child, without a care in this new world. So connected to you, an innocent new life, a heart so true. I'm still a child without a care in this new world. And so connected to you, I'm innocent and deep and pure and true.
Beautiful. That's all. Twinkle, our beloved brother Omashar. That was a perfect song for tonight.
Inside, we are all children. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Omashar, thank you so much for all your support today. It was a little bit of a tricky show. Right?
It was definitely. Oops, I think we're cross spotlighting each other, brother. There we are. Oh, hey.
Here, I'll do it. I'll put us both on. There we go.
It was a challenge. However, when there's a challenge, you rise and you can either sink or swim. And we swam. So, yay.
I love what Mark wrote. I'm in continuous amazement at Omashar's inspired creative output. He's so perfectly a musical centerpiece of the awakening world in the Global Peace Tribe.
Mark, thank you so much. Coming from you, who is a consummate professional, if any of us could see what Mark is up to at the moment, we'd be mind expanded. I was going to say mind blown, but mind expanded.
There he is at his suite in Houston, where they are paying him well to be a big part of a show. And we love you, Mark.
Well, what is the show called, Mark?
Show is an Italian comedy, commedia dell'arte. The origin of slapstick. It's called The Servant of Two Masters.
Right. Wow, that's famous. Yeah.
It's an incredibly funny show, and it's been funny for 300 years, just like the best Shakespeare comedies. So I'm doing that until July. And so if anybody's in Houston, you can contact me, through the chat here, and I can get you comp tickets. It's a major theater. This theater won the Tony Award about 20 years ago for being the most outstanding regional theater in the U.S., and I've never seen anything like it. So it's very cool to be part of this.
Thank you, Mark.
Proud of you, man. That's awesome. Omashar, I'm going to email you a couple of videos just in case I'm having a problem tomorrow. They're going to need.
Okay, I shall download them tonight in between my addictive tendencies, which I get into after these shows.
All right. Well, we'll work on how to manage those addictions tomorrow. Hey, take care, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your patience. Please do register for the new season and bring in more people. Let's grow our audience. Okay. I need your support with that. I need your help. All right, everybody. Much love. See you tomorrow. Good night. Oh, let me go to gallery view one more time. I almost forgot. I always like to do that, so we can say goodbye to everybody. Take care of everyone. Good night.